Welcome to Liza Talks with Tequila. Grab a drink and enjoy. Cheers.
It kind of got out of hand.
Ooh, baby. This is fun. Hi, everyone. This is Liza Talks with Tequila. Today, I am talking with my cousin, Justin Patterson. Justin is a former Broadway actor who turned his career into being a very successful photographer, while still doing some shows if possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Before I start, going into questions, I want to introduce what we're drinking today. So I am doing Herradura on the rocks with soda water and lime. Nice, light, refreshing drink. What about you, Justin?
All right. I'm having a margarita in
Ooh.
a Hufflepuff glass. I'm using Casamigos Blanco.
Oh, you got the good stuff.
Yeah. And one lime, half a grapefruit, half an orange.
Oh, you did
Yeah.
grapefruit.
Yeah, a friend of mine turned me on to that. She was making hers like that. And she actually also turned me on to the margaritas with the reposado. And that
Okay.
stuff is amazing. Is the Casamigos reposado is incredible. It's just got a completely different kind of flavor to it. It's a little bit more rich but still really clean tasting.
Yeah.
It's so good. And the grapefruit, I never even thought to put grapefruit in it. And it's a really nice addition to all the citrus. So I'm loving it.
Do you sugar in it, like the Cointreau?
No, sometimes I'll do a Cointreau. I'll add a little Cointreau, but I kind of do the skinny version, and
Nice.
it's so good. It's good to me.
Yeah, sounds good.
And what she does too, which is actually kind of cool, she'll just put a teeny tiny little pinch of salt in the shaker as well,
Oh,
and
that's a good
shake it
idea.
up, and it just kind of rounds out all the citrus flavors.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's good.
like
I love
when
it.
I don't like salt around the rim,
I don't
but
either. Yeah.
so that sounds nice. Just a little bit would be a nice touch, but because I have seen some crazy amounts, like the whole thing all the way around. I'm like,
yeah,
how
I
do I
don't
get
like
around
that.
this?
Yeah.
Well, cheers. Cheers before you.
Cheers.
Another sip.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on with me today. It's a beautiful day out. I can see
it
it's nice and
is.
sunny there.
I mean, yeah, we rarely get out. I probably get out more than anyone to go, grab odds and ends at the grocery store and whatnot. But
yeah, I was gonna say, so you have two kids and obviously your wife Heidi, who I love, everybody.
yeah,
How has it been being around each other all the time? I know
it's
that's
tough. I mean,
not like
it's
that.
yeah, it's great and it's tough. I mean, it's kind of all the best of all worlds.
Right.
We love getting to have the time together, but it's really tough. It gets very stressful. It gets heated sometimes, and you got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old and homeschooling and
Right.
that's pretty much my job during the day because Heidi being a teacher, she's in at the computer teaching her classes, constantly being on call for her students. So I'm in the kitchen at the table with the kids, and Heath will go off for a couple hours because he has Zoom classes. But then Emma and I are working on stuff, and it's crazy. It's hard. I have I mean, I grew up around teachers, but
your mom is a teacher.
Teachers need to get paid way more than they do.
I hope that's at least one of the good things that comes out of this. How hard is it to be a teacher? I think more parents will be like, get him out of here.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
Heidi was saying the other night, well, one plus is that, we haven't had to make lunches for the kids and stuff like that, which, during the school year, normally it's like, oh, we got to make lunches. But, I thought about it and I said, you know what? I would make 100 lunches a day if it meant that we were at our normal schedule, our normal life, because it's those things that you don't realize actually are not that bad, compared to what it could be like now. So
absolutely. And your kids are
Both
having
been
a
hard.
tough time going outside,
Yeah, they're having
you
a really
said.
tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Heath especially. Emma, I think, is a little bit more kind of go with the flow, and she's still young
Mm-hmm.
enough that she doesn't quite intellectualize everything.
Right.
But Heath really does, and so it's been hard.
Yeah.
And
They're 10 and
he's
6, right?
10 and 7.
Seven.
And
Seven's right.
yeah, and he's kind of terrified to go out. He's
Yeah.
just afraid that he's going to catch something. And so and then she hears him talking about it, and then she jumps on as well. Oh yeah, I
Right.
don't want to
Right.
go outside. And so
Yeah.
we get out when we can, but it's
Yeah.
very rare. We put screens in the windows and all that to at
Mm-hmm.
least have some nice fresh air coming in the house. So, but
Right.
yeah, crazy times.
I know. It's so wild. By the way, you're drinking a Hufflepuff Fest. Is that
Yeah.
that's your,
It's my half house, I guess that you could
okay.
say. I mean, when I first, did the sorting, very
Mm-hmm.
first time I got Slytherin,
Oh,
and I
no.
thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. I thought I
Yeah.
don't really feel like a Slytherin, but I mean, I guess there are qualities, and then I
There's
started to
good
look at,
qualities. Yeah.
there are some good people in Slytherin house, so I kind of embraced
Mm-hmm.
that. And then they had where you could retake it and see if you got a
Ah.
different house. And I retook it honestly, and came up Hufflepuff. And I thought I feel a lot more Hufflepuff just inside.
Yeah.
So
What is,
it's
do you know the differences like with Hufflepuff and what's the other one? Ravenclaw? Do you know what it shows about
well,
personality, why people
oh
would get
God,
sorted into this?
putting me on the spot here.
Well, no, I
Well,
don't know. I just
Heidi's a Ravenclaw, and she is
Okay.
definitely a Ravenclaw. A lot more.
Mhm.
Like intellectual with stuff and really,
Mhm.
processes everything. Hufflepuff is a little more like sort of fun loving and loyal and,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I
that
don't know
makes sense. Yeah.
I can't remember
Yeah.
all the little.
No, I know. I think I got Hufflepuff as well. I got to go back on there and redo it. I didn't know you could redo it.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of cool because then it asks you, well, do you want to stay, with the one you had,
Okay.
or do you want to switch? And I guess you can switch back and forth on the Wizarding World site. But
Yeah.
Heidi gave me a couple years ago for Christmas, she gave me a set of the 4 glasses.
Oh, right. You have all
And
four.
so
That's right.
there's the 4 houses, and then I also have golden snitch ice molds,
Oh,
which is
that's
kind of fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
And
knew
so
that. That's awesome.
so with the glasses, I kind of pick them based on how I'm feeling that day. And, and a lot of times lately I have been picking Slytherin because I'm
I was
like, I
gonna say
kind of,
they're like, oh no,
yeah,
guys, he's got the
I
Slytherin. How
feel,
about?
yeah, but it's fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of do it up. We've got
Yeah.
um,
And you've
a
been to
lot of
Wizarding.
Harry
You
Potter
guys
stuff.
have been to
Yeah,
Wizarding World and
couple times. Yeah,
yeah, and
it's
that's fun.
such an awesome place. Universal's opening up next week, opening back
Oh, it
up.
is. Oh gosh,
Yeah,
I don't know about that one.
I don't think I would want to go,
No,
but
not even
they're
with masks on.
taking they've got everything spaced out, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I guess I'll just
I
have to
guess.
see what the numbers are.
Well, I wonder if someplace like that, it's better to have some people in than no people in, or does
Yeah,
it take
right.
so much money to run it? That's what I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the same thing with like Broadway, and
Yeah, I
they're
wanted
talking
to
about
ask you about that. Yeah. My
um
my friend was in a show off Broadway that was just about to be put on Broadway Row, and
yeah,
bigger
on
what
Theater
do you call
Row.
it? Big yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
like a
theater row,
bigger
sorry,
house, and
bigger house. So it was starting to
yeah,
move up, and Billy
yeah.
Porter went and saw the show, and all these cool
Oh
things,
wow.
and then like literally the day they did one rehearsal, and then everything was shut down. And he was telling me like Frozen is officially done for now.
Yeah,
And
Frozen
I wanted to see what
closed.
you thought about like, what do you feel like the recovery is going to be like for Broadway?
I think it's going to be a long, hard, sad,
Mm-hmm.
devastating road. Honestly, I think it's unfortunately going to be a long, long time till things get back to normal because
Yeah.
What people I think don't think about with Broadway, just because they don't know how things work. Um,
Right.
there are so many steps involved in what's going to be opening these shows back up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break it all down, you think of all the people that are unemployed, but if you start to think about how long these shows are going to be down, some of these shows, I think at best, right now they're
Mm-hmm.
saying they are officially closed into September, but I
Right.
think at best it'll really be January,
Mm.
best case scenario. And
Yeah.
so that's going to be almost a year of these shows being
Mm-hmm.
down. And if you think about people's contracts, some people were just about to finish a contract. Some
Right.
people were on a medical leave for an injury. Some people were just hired as replacements, but maybe they go on to something else. Or maybe people
Right.
decide that, oh, I think I need to just stay away from the city and not come back.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
There's going to be so much recasting. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
have to get back in and re-audition, recast these shows.
Right.
Um, and then they're going to have to get back in the studios and basically, re-rehearse the whole show,
Right.
because it will have been so long. People will, be really rusty,
Yeah.
have forgotten a lot of stuff. And then you've got the stagehands, the crew, the makeup crew, and the musicians union.
Mm-hmm.
There's I know they're looking at ways of trying to cut back costs as they come back. The head of the Broadway Show League, the producers, were saying,
Mm-hmm.
not every show needs to have an orchestra. And
Oh, it's so sad.
of course, the musicians union was like, no, 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 you're not cutting us out of your show. Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's
so it's
awful.
going to be, I think it's going to be really hard. I think there's going to be a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of ugliness to it, because I think there's going to be a lot of, different unions and different sides trying to,
Right.
vouch for their importance and how much
Mm-hmm.
they deserve to still be involved.
Which
Um,
they do. It's just really
yeah,
sad.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you were saying about Universal, I mean, you cannot. Some people were saying, are they going to open these shows back up and only sell half the tickets or something
Right.
like that?
Right.
These shows cost so much money just to
Right.
run. If they are running it and only trying to fill the house halfway, it's just not going to cut it. I mean, there's no way that
Right.
anybody will. They'll be losing money still. Um,
So are the most successful
so
shows the ones that basically sell out almost every night, like a
yeah,
Hamilton or something like that? Like those are the
those will
ones that make
stay.
money.
Lion King,
Yeah.
shows like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you
Harry
look at
Potter.
shows like, yeah, well, but Harry Potter, Cursed Child was kind of struggling a little bit, I
Oh,
think,
really?
before this all
Oh.
shut down, because I think their problem was, I think people thought that it was always sold out and that you couldn't get tickets to
Uh,
it,
which is
and
what
you
I thought.
could, yeah. And
Oh.
so they weren't selling tickets sometimes because I think people,
Mm.
also that show's tough because, as amazing as it is, we've seen it twice. It's tough for a family to come into the city, as
Mm-hmm.
tourists, and to commit, because it's two parts, it's two
Right.
shows. So it's hard to commit to, spending your entire day in New
Yeah,
York,
literally. Yeah.
at the theater for one show. So I think
Yeah.
that's kind of tough too, for shows of that format. But and then
You
you
think
think
it
of,
could it be
go ahead.
shorter or
It could, it'd be such a travesty to
okay.
cut that down. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
No,
see it
no.
yet? Oh, it's
That's what
just,
I thought. I
it
I thought I
is
couldn't get in.
phenomenal
So.
from head to toe. And
Mm-hmm.
to cut anything out of that would just be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, maybe they have to do something like that, cut it down a little bit. But and then you
Yeah.
have shows like, the thing about Broadway is, I don't know the exact number, but I would say probably about, 80%, if not maybe more, is all reliant upon tourists. And
Right.
so
And
it's
who's
going to
coming to the
be
city? Yeah.
ages until tourists start flocking back to the
Right.
city. And so
Absolutely.
shows like Phantom of the Opera, shows
Mm-hmm.
like Chicago, shows that have been around a long
Right.
time, but that they are heavily
That's
you're
tourist central.
relying on
Yeah.
like Japanese tourists and
Right.
to come.
Hmm.
It's going to start. I think we're going to see. Frozen is just unfortunately the beginning
Right.
of what I
I
think
was
is
just
probably going to be the
surprised with,
mass exodus. Yeah,
yeah. I just because that's like one of the biggest shows I would have thought,
yeah,
and to have that one go down so fast, I was like, oh
yeah.
no.
I think
I
Disney
think,
had to
yeah.
cut
Oh,
ties
right,
with the
because
one that they
Disney.
felt like
Hmm.
they probably had to cut the rope on one of them, and they
Right.
had to look at which ones were maybe
Long
wasn't going to
term.
make. Yeah, the
Right.
Lion King's not going anywhere because that makes so much money every week. So
Yeah, that's the longest running show ever, right?
um I don't think quite yet. No, it's
Okay.
not. I think Phantom is
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
Phantom of
Okay.
the Opera. Yeah,
Yeah, the last show I saw was play was To Kill a Mockingbird with Jeff Bridges,
yeah.
and that was awesome. Although I couldn't quite understand him half the time. He was talking in such southern drawl. It was just like
Right,
I was
right,
like,
right.
all the older people in the audience had to get like earpieces because they couldn't understand him. But it was really
Yeah,
good. Do you think shows with that have a lead actor star would probably have a better chance of coming back? I know
maybe.
that was Ed Harris, but
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing with that is the Hollywood stars have
hmm
they usually when they sign on to do a Broadway show, they're usually on for a certain amount of months or a year
right,
set
hmm
because then they have to be done because then they've got movie schedules
right. No,
built
I
up
forgot about
for
that.
years. And
Right.
so, you look at like The Music Man was supposed to be starting in the fall with Hugh Jackman. And
Oh, right,
you look at okay, well, if it starts back, January or the spring or something, is he even gonna would he even do it? Because he probably only had like a year contract, and because then he
right.
probably has to get on to his movie shoots.
Yeah, he's got
So
to be so incredibly busy. So
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
man,
It's sad, and I think
it's really
people,
sad.
just don't really think about all the, intricacies
Sure.
of what it takes to put on a show. But I
Right.
think it's going to be a
There's so much. Yeah.
long, hard, devastating road
Yeah.
to get back. So
Speaking of that too, sports, where you're a huge, huge Atlanta everything fan.
yeah,
Um, that's been like the big because I follow sports the most.
yeah,
I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't really know if I care right now if it's back. I don't think we should rush into it just because we need sports. We need this,
right, right, right.
I know they need it. And I think things can come back in a safer way than maybe a performance, on stage or even like film sets, stuff like
Right.
that. But how do you feel about it? Are you like dying to have your sports
I'm
back?
dying. I'm
Yeah.
dying. No, I mean, I just want everything to be safe and be done the
Right.
right way. I definitely don't think they should rush back. However,
Hmm.
did you watch the match on Sunday? The
No,
golf
I didn't
match
watch
with
it.
it
Well,
was
I don't have
amazing.
TV,
It
so.
was so fun and it was so
Hmm.
great just to see these guys out there playing something. I
Right.
don't care if it was ping pong, I would have watched it.
Right.
But and
True.
the camaraderie and all that. And supposedly PGA is starting up in like a couple weeks after, in June, I think. But the
Right.
great thing about like golf, PGA, they can completely be separated, and it'll be
Yeah.
without fans. They'll just be playing, the players will be playing, they'll be televising it and all that.
Yeah.
But they
I'm
could
sure the
be,
fans
you could
that won't
have a
be a
guy
problem.
putting and
Yeah.
be,
Well, they're typically that far
20
apart
feet
from
away.
each other
Yeah.
anyway.
So it's a
Yeah.
pretty safe sport to be able to do the social distancing anyway.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I think it's so hard. Like,
Yeah.
I read the other day they were talking some of the soccer leagues are starting back up and they're talking about Premier League in England and then two of the
Hmm.
players just tested positive. And so it's
Right.
like, but then
Yeah.
everybody has to be tested and everybody, it's like I
It's a
think
lot of time and energy. Yeah.
Chipper Jones, was talking about with baseball, it's like, okay, they do, if they do the whole like sequestered in one city, one complex, like they're kind of talking about having all the teams come and be kind of
Mm-hmm.
secluded and in their own hotels. And
That sounds
you know,
scary.
if one person tests positive, then they have to shut
Right.
the whole thing down. And then,
Right.
you know,
That sounds
I
too
don't know.
risky.
It's so hard. It's so hard. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you do? You want to be safe, and then you want to have some
You
sense
want.
of normalcy. I mean, I think the bottom line
Mm-hmm.
for them really is money. You know, the
Right.
owners, they all want to
That's
make
all they care
money, and
about.
yeah.
And once it seems
So
safe enough, because I do believe, like you're from Atlanta, Georgia.
yeah.
The Georgia governor, I don't think is fully telling all the information that he
No,
should be. So
I don't
it's
think he's
like all
fully
these
doing
numbers
it
are
much of
skewed.
it.
That's
Yeah,
true. Oh, what a
yeah,
disaster he is.
yeah.
um, but yeah, so it's like, well, so what are you listening to? Because you have like the leader of our country say one thing, but you have a bunch of governors, scientists, all these people saying other things, and it's like, why is this such a tough thing? These are people's lives. These are health and
Yeah,
safety issues. This isn't like, oh, you know what? We're just being like overly cautious. No, like
yeah.
you've
I
seen
mean,
people be sick and struggle so hard with this. Like people, we have people like I don't know. It gets me really riled up.
well, no matter who is in the office, I always prefer to go with science and medical
Exactly.
professionals.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, but you know, I would always go with them before I went with, you know, what
Right.
somebody else, you know, in the office was saying. So
Right. Yeah, I just don't get it, but
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
um, and what do you think about Vic Beasley from the Falcons coming to my
Yeah, right.
Titans
To your
team?
team. Well, I
You
hope
probably
for
want to
your
get rid of him,
sake,
don't
I
you?
hope you get the Vic Beasley from, what was it, 2018 or
Yeah.
2017, whichever
Something like
one it
that.
was, where he was the league sack leader.
Right. I
He
hope
was a
so.
beast that season, but then after that, it
Yeah.
was pretty bad for us.
No, I know. I'm kind of hoping Vrabel being, it's almost it's a defensive slash running back led, like that's what our team is
Yeah,
basically right now.
yeah,
Unless there's any big changes. Ryan Tannehill's not the quarterback. I think that's, he's great. He's done well this year, but he really doesn't have a great track record. Like, 1 year is,
right.
I don't trust 1 year necessarily.
Yeah, and it wasn't even
Um,
a full year,
right,
right?
exactly.
Didn't he come in like
I
halfway in
think
the
it was
season or
game
few?
5 or 6,
Okay,
something like that. It was
yeah, it's
fairly
tough.
early, but it's I don't know. The only thing
Yeah,
that gives me hope is, Derrick Henry, watching him build up and get better and better and better, and now he's
the
just like
monster.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
monster. I
love
mean,
him.
sometimes players just need a change of scenery, you know, a
Right,
change of
exactly.
direction in terms of a different kind of coach,
Right.
you know.
I wanted to ask you about because you're a photographer now.
Yeah.
How has this affected like your schedule? Have you been able to do any, or how has that gone?
Well, I'm finally caught up on editing for the first time in years, like fully caught up. So
That's
that's
good.
great. That's always exciting. And it's
Yeah.
great because it allows me more time, you know, with the family. But
Hmm.
um you know, it's been hard because there's nothing, you know, when you're a freelance photographer or any kind of freelancer. You
Yeah.
know, it's like there's no work there. There's no, you know, a lot of people ask me if I'm going to do some kind of, you know, FaceTime, a virtual photo shoot and stuff like that. I might try something like that, but it's kind of not my
Mhm.
vibe at the moment.
Right. Well, it's
And
like you
so,
got
you know, I'm kind of
to.
like,
I
I
feel
don't
like the
really.
south. Being from the south, I feel like you got the like. You want to be in person. It's more
Yeah,
personable. I'm not saying other people aren't,
yeah.
but I think there is something to that. It's
It's
more
also just
comfortable.
not my vibe of photography and the way I
Right.
want to shoot. I don't really want to shoot off of someone else's iPhone necessarily. So,
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird. Yeah.
um, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. I might be doing something like that.
Right.
I just want to, you know, make it my own if I do something like that. But you
Yeah.
know, it's just hard because it's like, you know, I don't know when to say, that it's okay for people to start kind of slowly trickling in. I have had people reach out to
Mhm.
ask, you know, when I'm thinking about getting
Right.
things rolling again. I mean, the nice thing for me for this, occupation is you can have a very controlled environment as long
Absolutely. Yeah.
as the client is just by themselves and
Mhm.
not bringing anybody else, and they have been safe and healthy.
Yeah.
They come
That's
in,
the
I
biggest
can wear a
thing.
mask. Yeah.
Mhm.
Make sure everything's wiped down. If there's a makeup artist that feels comfortable in coming, they can have
Mhm.
masks and have gloves and whatever. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
and we can keep it real small and contained. And
Mhm.
but it's just tough. It kind of depends on people's comfort levels,
Right.
and what they feel is necessary. And the tough part is a lot of the people that I work with are actors or
I was gonna
dancers, and
say, right.
there's no work for them. So it's not like people are
Right. You
needing
need
new
to come in to get
headshots right
headshot.
away.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, that's tough. But
kind
yeah,
of have
you're
to
right. I mean,
reinvent.
it's interesting because you actually have a pretty good, like you said, environment for still working and doing what you need to do. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like you also need the demand too. So
yeah, yeah.
that's the tough part.
I think sometime in June, I might be able to start
Hmm.
getting some folks in here and there,
Oh, great. Yeah.
and just see. I'm hoping, but
Yeah.
we just have to continue to monitor it. See how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah. Well, I hope it gets better soon. I hope everything's because
Yeah,
I want to go back to work. I can work,
I know, right?
via Zoom, but I love being in person with people. I love
Yeah,
being there with them.
of course.
So that's all I want.
Well, that's what's so
um,
frustrating too about, you see all these people that are, over the weekend where, thousands of people partying in Missouri at the Ozarks and all this stuff. And it's so frustrating because it's like, of course, we all want to get back to our normal lives, but,
right.
there's still a great danger out there. And people have to
Hmm.
be serious. And I mean, I'm stuck in my apartment with my family. We're all doing our part to try to stay safe and keep
Right.
other people safe. And when
Hmm.
you see people being so blatantly ignorant, and
Right.
it's just
Gets me so mad.
it's frustrating. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
frustrating. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like for my birthday, I want, which is in a couple weeks, I'm gonna have my parents and Emerson, my sister, and her boyfriend. I'm gonna have them come over. But the only reason I'm doing that, I feel a little stressed doing it. I think now that Cuomo has said you can have 10 people or less in a space, I'm a little more comfortable. But also, I know that they've taken all the precautions they've needed
Right.
to. And I'm willing to, okay, I think we're comfortable enough. I think we can all be in the same place for a few hours and
Right.
have a little party, have a little thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even that gives me anxiety. And it's
Yeah. I
frustrating to see
know.
other people just like not care at all. Because it
Yeah.
isn't about me totally. It's about like other people too,
Other people. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at some point we're just gonna have to, you know, rip off the band-aid enough to just like
Hmm.
just get back together in these small tiny groups,
Right.
and just to do our
See how
part.
it
And
goes.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. um
Yeah.
it was funny in the talk about in the match, the golf tournament, when a couple of the good shots were made, the Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson would come in like they were going to give each other a high five, and at the very last second they remembered the situation and they just kind of
That
just kind of air fived, and it was
would have
kind
looked
of
so
funny.
bad.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would have looked awful if they were like
Was it on
hugging it
purpose?
out.
Or did they like not really
No,
remember?
I mean, there were a few times where like Tom came in and Phil was kind of
Wait,
like,
wait,
remember?
wait.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It
so
was
good.
kind of funny. It was kind of funny.
Um, so have you and Heidi, your wife, had any like date nights at home kind of thing, or any, fun drinking nights or
We haven't had any date nights. Well, that's kind of every night.
That's
It's a
true.
fun drinking night. But
Sweet.
the nice thing about this silver lining is that
Hmm.
when life is, normal and we're going through our normal schedule,
Yeah.
uh, I'm shooting during the day, and then I have a ton of editing at night. So I'm at the computer at night, she's teaching all day and then has grading to do at night. So
Right.
she's off grading papers, and we
Right.
rarely get to see each other and really spend time together during the week. And so the great part about this is that we have had every night to be able to, hang out
Yeah.
and watch movies and watch
No, that's true.
series that we've always wanted to watch and catch up on, and you know,
Yeah.
that's been awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
agree. I love that part of it. Just having that time with a loved one or whoever you're quarantining with.
Yeah,
It's time. Well, hopefully, for some people, it hasn't necessarily been a good time.
right.
And I hope they're okay. But for those that like,
Yeah.
it's been really nice to reconnect.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I've really enjoyed that part. I've actually, I think my stress levels have decreased by like 50%, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
weird. Just day-to-day stresses. It's
Yeah.
kind of nice on that side of it too. Like,
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better, but that makes me worried about going back to my work life.
Yeah.
Like, what's it gonna be like?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But
We'll
yeah,
just have to see. But I mean, I
take it
think it
one
does
day.
help that, yeah, I mean, it's definitely less uh, like the apocalypse out there,
Yeah,
the first, month and a half, even really, it just
terrifying.
felt like,
Yeah.
a ghost town outside. And it feels
Hmm.
like things are just starting to click a little more. And, you
Yeah.
know, not that people are being unsafe, although I always see
Mhm.
people walking around without masks, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
know.
it does feel
You
like,
stay away.
things are just kind of like people are getting a little less scared and a little
Yeah,
more
and that's nice.
comfortable with just sort of being out a little bit.
Are
So,
you happy with how Cuomo has done for New York?
yeah, he's been amazing. The only thing that
Mm.
I did not like that he talked about was how he
Mm.
felt like the online learning and the education has been going really well. He was talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
And I
and you're
couldn't
like, no, it
disagree more.
hasn't.
And Heidi
Yeah.
being a teacher, she's the same way. She's like, this is not good. This is not conducive to a
Right.
good education.
Yeah.
And so, because he's talking about how he's working with Bill Gates to like work on some online learning sites
Yeah.
and whatever. And it's like, no, we
Yeah.
don't need to, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's going to have to be something, I'm sure, in the fall. There might
Hmm.
be some splitting up of days that students come into the
Right.
school, or not at all.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but,
Yeah. I
you
mean, look,
know,
I did online school for high school, but it was for a purpose, and
right.
I went to boarding school and I played tennis and I did the online school,
Yeah,
and it's just different. I think some people can handle it, and I barely handled it. Like
right.
I think I would have had a much better learning experience in person, because I could have chosen an in person school, but I chose online.
Yeah,
And it was fine, but it's really, just from my experience, it's not the same kind of
yeah,
learning
yeah,
experience. I mean, you have to do it on your own. You have someone's there, but you're learning on your own, and that's just not easy for, I'd say,
yeah,
probably a majority of people.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah. You
I guess
need
if
that
there's better
hands-on.
tools, then maybe, yeah.
I guess, but the problem is that I don't think he's thinking about is like parents have to get back to work eventually.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like for myself,
Hmm.
if I need to get back to work and people are coming for shoots, and then the kids have to do online learning, Heidi can't do it because she's teaching her classes during the day.
Right.
We can't afford to pay for childcare, for
Hmm.
someone to come over and be taking care of the kids and making sure that the kids are doing their work all
Right.
day.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like that stuff like that. I don't think he's really thinking about. He's just thinking about they're getting their lessons and they're turning them in,
Hmm.
and that's it. But there's so much
Yeah.
more involved.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and yes, some households it might work, but I'd say probably 90% it won't work.
Right.
Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys could find a way, or like I could
Yeah.
come hang out with them, but it's like most places cannot do that, or
Right.
most households. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so well, otherwise though, I think he's done well. Like, I
he's
feel
been
safe
amazing.
here. I think
Yeah.
I love how he's so blunt and like, don't be stupid, wear a mask. That's what he tweeted yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you he's running for president next
I hope
time.
so.
I think he's going to take, he's people are very high up on him right now, so I think he's going to take that notoriety and
See how well he did with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whether it's Trump or Biden, it's only one more term. So, because Biden said he would only do one term if he won.
Well, I guess he is almost 80. So.
Yeah. It's probably best.
Well, he's still better than.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he is by far. He's not still better. He is better. He would be the better option.
Yeah.
Biden would be the better. Not to you. I'm saying that to everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a nice big chug of our drink and cheers.
It's been so fun.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't
Too big.
talk too
That
much.
was great. No, that was perfect.